What's up, everybody? This is Dominic D'Angelo of OneTrueSportTV.com, FourHorsemenNetwork.com, and I am here. Oh, Greg's already blowing up. It's Hollywood calling, but I'm here with Greg Gagne, Magnum TA. It is Straight Talk with the Boss. Greg's got the mug. We're ready to rock and roll. We're live. How are you guys?
I got nothing in my mug, but TA's got something in his.
Don't tell my secrets.
I'm drinking straight out of the can today.
Yeah, it's for medicinal purposes. I might have a snake crawl up here and bite me any minute. I got to be ready.
What are you dropping that Crown Royal with when you're drinking?
Well, you're going to get us a sponsorship yet, aren't you?
Yeah, we're trying.
Crown Apple.
Crown Apple.
Crown Apple. You can't feel, man. You got me thirsty still, and I'm still drinking right now. But want to say hi to folks in the chat. Triple E's in here. CG Artis is in here. And CB is in here as well. Feel free to chime on in. Give us a like. Be sure to like the video and be sure to subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. But we got some good stuff to talk about today. We'll cover a little bit of SmackDown. I wanted to get both your guys' thoughts, too, on not just the fight itself, but the presentation of Tyson versus Jake Paul. Magnum, you were really into it. You were dog-eared to watch it for sure. And
I feel cheated. And I got two different schools of thought about the whole thing.
Yeah, let's hear them.
So, obviously the promotion for the thing was amazing. Mm-hmm. And watching him in training camp, the spectacular footage they had, just brought back all the possibilities of what could be if he turned it on. And, they told the story, after the fact that he'd had a really serious illness in June and from a bleeding ulcer and had to be blood transfusions, blah, 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 blah.
Right.
But I don't think it was a fair representation to the public that wanted to see that Mike Tyson that they saw in the training. And if he had something and he was coming back from something, excuse me, and they told that story, that would have been one thing, but they didn't tell that story until like after the fact. And so it makes you feel like it was more of a money grab, and that the betting world and everything else, if Tyson, if they allude to the fact that he's anything less than the best that he could be, that it tainted the whole thing. So I think, I don't think he was just working or sandbagging. I mean, I think physically, something was going on. Mm-hmm. That or he's a way better worker than I think he is. He might have got all this. But even like from looking at him, how cat-like quick he was at the weigh-in with the little smack to the face and everything.
Right.
It was not like the same guy showed up. And I can't, like I said, I can't put my finger on it. It could be a number of things. But the promotion, obviously went all in on drawing with that marquee match, and it worked. Thank goodness they had two stellar matches.
Oh yeah.
There were the second and third match bouts were unbelievable. That women's match was like something I've never seen. Greg and I couldn't have booked that back in our heyday.
Right.
I mean, that just redefined tough, true grit. Somebody getting screwed by the referee at the end. I mean, just the whole shooting match, because that girl from Puerto Rico landed more punches, was more aggressive. Yes, she got headbutted, got hard weighed, got it all, and then she loses on points. I mean, I'm sorry, but that dog won't hunt. That was, and I like both of the performers. I thought the Irish girl was, had a tremendous story, but if the fight that I watched and even from their own stats, it didn't make sense that who won the fight. But back to the Mike deal, something is amiss, and they weren't transparent with the buyer, and then you add to that, Netflix was doing an endeavor, which was new for them in a different live setting in a big arena. And they were having stream, they were getting overwhelmed with the streaming. I was actually had it on my television, which would go buffering, and I pulled up on my iPad or my phone, and I could get it better on one of the other devices because it was delaying. It was lagging so bad.
Right? That's what was happening to me too.
Yeah. And, so again, for all of us that were Mike, and still am, Mike Tyson fan, everything he did in his career, it just, just 4 years ago, if you look back at what he did during the pandemic, with Firestone.
Yeah.
And look at if that guy had come out, 4 years later, and in that kind of movement and with that kind of hand speed, it would have been a whole different game. It would have been very entertaining. It would have been somewhat of a spectacle to watch, but we didn't get any of that.
No, we didn't. Yeah.
Looked like you could tell, just from our sport, from wrestling, I could tell after the first round he was out of gas.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
he was breathing hard, and for all the conditioning he had going into that, he should have been prepared. So there was something, whether he was sick or had something that was holding him back. But I noticed that breathing right after the first round, and I said, man, he's not going to last.
Yeah.
But he made it through the rounds, but, there wasn't a lot of movement. And it was too bad. I mean, they had a great audience. In fact, I got up to the girls' match, and the streaming went blank. And for an hour and a half, I kept backing it up, going back right up where it started, and boom, it wouldn't pick up. And then finally, about the fourth time, it picked up a little interview that they were having, the announcers. And just as they went to go to the girls' match, boom, it went blank again. So I got up I was up to about 1:30, 2 o'clock doing that. Right. Finally, about 7 o'clock in the morning, I got up and it came on, and I watched it from there. But that girls' fight, whew.
I know you wanted something to really get a highlight out of that. It was the women's fight. I mean, like boxing is having such an uphill battle with getting new stars and getting the promotions of the aspect of the fight right. They did a good job at it. The two women did, I thought. And but I was watching the former
welterweights too.
The welterweights was a great fight. Yeah, that was a really good one too. That one guy was a huge underdog. The one that was fighting under him.
Oh, that comeback was like out of a Rocky movie. I mean, he gets knocked down twice in the early rounds.
Yeah.
He comes back and knocks down the champion.
You're right.
And I'm glad they called it a draw because, honestly, that was as big as back and forth of a battle as you could ever want to see. Yeah. And the other guy was getting better and better every round.
He was. Yeah.
He had to get warmed up. He had to get knocked down a few times and dust himself off and, get back in the game.
Yeah, it was terrific. The matches leading up to it were really good, I thought.
I thought so, too.
The whole presentation, I mean, man, it was that walk down the aisle they had, that long aisle they all came up, and the people were into it. It was a great promotion.
So I think, though, I'll push back a little bit and say that when I watch a WWE pay-per-view or PLE and how it's all set up, how the presentation is, how like the hype packages are for the matches and build towards it, Netflix really failed in comparison to what WWE can put on, I think.
Well, WWE's been doing it for a long time.
Yeah. Go ahead, Greg. What did you say?
WWE's been doing it for a long time.
It's true.
I mean, these guys, this is their first shot at it, and they probably watched a lot of the WWE and try to, duplicate what they were doing. But, for them to just come in for the first time and try to make it a presentation like that, it was good, but it felt a little short from what the WWE does. Yeah. But
right.
It was still good. It was
still
good. I mean, 65 million people watched it, so
they got to take notes.
They sold it pretty good.
Yeah. I think what else was I going to say about that? Was the announcing too was a bit of a struggle. Mauro Ranallo is a former WWE announcer, but he was like downselling the main event a lot during the fight, like mentioning that the attendance was lower than what it usually is for stuff. He mentioned how like Tyson. I mean, he's being honest, but it's also like if you're trying to hype the fight and make it get the fans invested, you're not really doing your product a service by saying all that stuff either at the same time. So it's a tough position to be in, but hopefully Netflix takes notes, just not from just the bandwidth standpoint, stuff like that, but I would really follow suit about what WWE, how they handle the presentation, because I mean, coming away from it, I'm just like, they're using a class of their own when it comes to this stuff. They know what they're doing, and that was really telling on that end of the thing. So, but yeah,
does that lead us into SmackDown last
Friday? That does lead us into SmackDown. Greg, you watched it. What did you think of this past Friday?
Okay, I thought one of the better shows I've seen.
Yeah,
from the start to the end.
Mm-hmm.
And that Nia Jax and Naomi was a hell of a match.
It's good stuff.
It really was. And to follow everything else that they had to follow, it was really well done. Those two girls worked their butts off.
I like how the Nia Jax looks with Tiffany and Candice LeRae at her side too. I think that they complement her very well, almost.
Yeah.
So I think that was a very good aspect of it all too.
Top to bottom. I mean, they had opened up with Cody's interview about Kevin Owens. Did a heck of a job with that. And then you had the Bayley match come up. She's phenomenal in the ring. And oh God, LA Knight, that little deal with. What was his name? Roberto?
Yeah, Roberto.
He's been gone for a while, but they had a heck of a match.
Yeah, he's good. He's a good wrestler.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And what else did I have in there? Then the Roman Reigns deal. I mean, that threw everybody for a curve.
Yeah, that set up nice stuff for sure. It was
Bronson Reed got in there.
Yeah. Added he's the wild card in it all, and then we got a little bit more development on that. And Raw. Magnum, did you have any takeaway? Did you get to catch any of SmackDown? You were invested in the Tyson fight.
I watched some of the highlights, like you said. I saw the deal with Bronson Reed coming out, and him and Jacob Fatu, standing next to each other, which that was a pretty intense, menacing look. If I've seen one, the two of them together.
Yeah,
that would be just horrifying. I mean, they would give those other two big guys a run for their money. With AOP, well, not AOP. What are the two big guys called that are with?
Thinking with Carrion? Yeah, it's AOP. You're right.
Yeah. So I mean, and they can go. So no, that was good stuff, and. Their product bell time to bell time always stands up.
Yeah.
I watched a little bit of Monday night last night before my bedtime kicked in, and I couldn't take any more.
Yeah.
But I like seeing Sheamus in the mix, helping the new guys and the young guys, and kind of helping them on the journey. Like what he's doing, because he is still such a solid performer.
Oh my gosh!
And has got himself, just right back in shape. Looks like $1 million. Can still talk. Can still roughhouse. Can still do all of it. I just don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not sure they know some of the directions they're going with people personalities. I guess is the only thing I can say about all of it, because. Who was the German guy that came down and interfered, and
Ludwig Kaiser?
Right.
Yep.
So I mean, he's all in heel.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Braun, it's like they don't, 1 minute they kind of got him healing, and then the other time, then the minute they got him baby facing, and I think they got to be, just kind of careful how they got him, so his personality is not confusing to people.
Yeah,
because I mean, he's got so many mannerisms of his dad. If you watch him standing in the ring, I mean, it's a flashback. I mean, if you shared the ring with Rick Steiner, you know exactly what I'm talking about. He just has a way of moving, a way of tilting his head, just everything. I mean, he's got the gene pool going, wide open. So I think they just need to kind of figure out do we want this guy to be a fan favorite and play to the crowd, or do we want him to be a nasty, heelish type guy?
Where do you see his value at? More as a babyface or more as a heel, Magnum?
I think more as a babyface right now. I think he needs heels to lead him.
Mm-hmm.
I think he needs heels to, even I know they lay it all out, this, that, and other, but still that right step, the right timing, the right, if something gets out of kilter just a little bit, you still need that ring general to be able to guide the less experienced man in the ring. And it's easier to do that, I think, in a babyface role when you got good heels around the work. And not that Sheamus is an out and out heel, but he doesn't mind being that big, rough, rugged, the bully kind of guy. So,
right.
And he's big enough to pull it off. There's not too many guys who go out there and make him look like that.
I'll tell you what, I know it would be quite the curveball, but I think I'd like to see, obviously Bronson Reed's teaming up with the new bloodline there and stuff like that. But I would not be against like Seth Rollins kind of not still opting out of being involved in the match, and you have somebody like Braun Breaker come in and be that wild card for the good guys in that former fashion, or even like you bring CM Punk into that mix and stuff like that and really create some excitement. You can later on build the Seth Rollins kind of like turning heel or something like that later on. I think you could create some a little bit more intrigue. Even I'm fine with Seth being in the match for sure, but I think you could create a little added intrigue if you had somebody like Braun Breaker get involved on a good guy side of things or something like that too.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
How about Braun Strowman?
Oh, so I don't know if he's hurt or not. I think he's dealing with some injury or something like that, but we haven't seen him in a while, like since the Bronson stuff. So,
well, who do you think Reigns and the group is going to bring in for their fifth man?
I guess
they couldn't get a hold of their manager.
Well, so how Raw closed out was Seth took on Bronson Reed, and then the new bloodline interfered and cost Seth the match. So it appears that Seth is going to be the one to do it, but it was just a mere segment beforehand that Seth was like, I don't want any part of this. Still, like, you can convince me as much. I don't want to work with Roman, but that could have changed his tune. I still think it would make a lot more cooler sense for fans and maybe for Seth in the long run to have a Braun Breaker takeover or a CM Punk fill in the spot and kind of that added wild card that will really entice people and get excited for War Games even more. So,
yeah, but don't you need a big guy to bounce off with Reed? So
here's the thing: is there's that other Samoan that's in the mix, Hikuleo, who's Ming's son. And I believe he's signed to a deal. And so they're just waiting to pull the trigger on him. And he's a big dude. I don't know if you would debut him in that match, like to maybe a surprise interference or something like that. But I don't know. That would be somebody you could kind of factor in. But, you could get somebody like a Braun Breaker, I think, to fill that role that's like an ass kicker in comparison to a Bronson Reed. Obviously, he's not the monster that we're talking about, but he's got that presence about him, too, that they've been conveying pretty cleverly. So, yeah, but pretty fun week. I want to get your thoughts too. Magnum, you might not have saw the highlight, but Greg, you probably saw it, was the return of Shinsuke Nakamura too. And I thought they presented him really well.
Oh, yeah, that was kind of an odd thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was unexpected.
It came up, it really got your attention because you had to look at first to, see who it was, to tell who it was. Yeah. Yeah, I was trying to figure out where they might be going with them after that little walk into the ring or that little walk through that he did.
Yeah.
Don't know. No idea.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting stuff, though. I like they gave him like this old samurai kind of look, which I thought was really cool. And so they're
doing a good job of keeping everybody guessing.
Yeah, you saw the highlight, Magnum?
Yeah, I saw the highlight reel, and I'm a big fan of his. I mean, he is really, really talented guy. And the thing of it is, really smart having him in that outfit, because it looked like he killed him. I mean, that move, it looked like something out of, one of the kung fu movies from the daggone 70s or something. It was
Star Wars character.
I mean, no, it was nasty looking, and
Yeah.
he's getting the illusion from the flow of that material and all that stuff. But it was crisp. It looked, and of course, it was sold correctly. But they can turn him on just as strong as they want to.
100%. Yeah, I'm excited for him. I hope they do a lot more with him now too, because it's like absence makes the heart grow fonder. They brought him back. He's repackaged. He looks different, and I think that's a fresh set you can go off on and have some fun with for sure. I think.
When I saw him, all I thought about was Star Wars.
Yeah,
Character out of Star Wars.
he looked like a Sith
What
Lord.
planet did he come from?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, but it was very, very good. It's got everybody thinking.
Right.
It should have, and has everybody talking.
Yeah, absolutely.
What are they going to do with him? Where is he going to fit in?
I think they'll put him up against LA Knight, but it'll be interesting to see what they do in the long run with him. I think LA Knight's run as the United States champion has kind of been a little kind of like second fiddle, for lack of a better phrase. And I think that they I don't know. I'm not completely sold on LA Knight, I guess.
Aren't you really?
No.
To me, he does a great interview.
Yeah.
I think he works great in the ring.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he's really had the opportunity to really showcase himself with some of the top talent.
I think it's fair point. Fair point. Magnum, what do you think, LA?
He's somebody to me that's better in the chase than as the champion.
Mm-hmm.
I think he is like, the guy, chasing it, and gets it and somehow gets screwed out of it. He's still back in the, fight to get it back. He's got great. I mean, I've been watching his career back in his TNA days, and all the bouncing around he did. I mean, I've been a fan of his from the word go. And to Greg's point, the guy can really work. I mean, he can do it all, and knows how to play the people. Big guy, believable guy, but just having the strap on him, the strap needs some heat. You gotta get the belt hot and people talking about it and wanting to see that guy lose the belt, because Cody's kind of breaking the mold and being the the babyface champion and going out there and repping the company and all that, and they can get away with a lot of that because what they're doing with Gunther,
right?
But all in all, heels holding the title, babyfaces chasing, has always been the more exciting thing of it. Mm-hmm. I mean, if somebody now, if LA Knight were to switch gears, he could change that all up. I bet he'd be a hell of a heel too. I'm sure he could be nasty as a heel. So it's all they got. Those guys know what they're doing for the next umpteen months, all the way through WrestleMania, I'm sure, and I'm sure they're just chomping at the bit. I can't wait to see what happens when Netflix kicks off.
Absolutely. Well, we got a good question here from CB regarding that too. We kind of talked about this on previous episodes, but Greg and Magnum and Dom, what do you think WWE Raw will be like on Netflix language-wise? Do you think they're going to up the language? Now, I did see a screenshot of like the upcoming preview for Raw on Netflix, or I guess it's on Netflix, is TV 14. So, I mean, they are up in the ante. I would be pretty – Greg, you're not a big fan of the coarse language, I know, but
well, here – the greatest show on TV, Yellowstone, without a doubt, right?
People love it.
Okay, it's on network and it's on Peacock, and on Peacock they throw out all the language. The language is thrown out. They whatever they want to say, they say. And back on the network, that's all bleeped out of there. And I like the Paramount version better.
Do you?
Yeah, I mean, because it's more realistic,
Well, you may not have had the language, but they sure had that graphic sex thing going on.
They got the what?
They sure had that graphic sex thing going on. If you saw the episode I saw.
Oh yes.
Oh,
there it is.
It's coming back to me now.
Yeah. I mean,
the other night, I didn't get I got the episode when he was knocked off, and we didn't get episode 2.
Well, you need to see episode 2 because PG just went right out the window, and they went right downtown with it. So
really,
oh yeah,
shit, I got to get that one.
Yeah.
I like how we're talking about language in WWE, and Greg's already shit.
Well, I mean, then you take it back to WWE going on Netflix.
Yeah,
You know, will they use the bad language? Will they throw out the F-bombs? You know, I don't know. And I don't know if it would be beneficial for them because they do have a large kids audience.
it's a good point.
And so that's I've been trying to figure that one out, how they're going to handle that Netflix and how it's going to be, different.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's the same way they do Yellowstone, but again, they have to think about it.
You got to watch because if they do anything like Yellowstone, you're going to blow your TV up.
TA and I love Yellowstone. I had to call him the other night.
I need to watch it. I have not seen it.
You haven't watched it?
I haven't watched it, and I love westerns. I love westerns and all that stuff. I just haven't.
Oh my God!
Right? I like
the best program, the best TV show on TV.
I know.
So you didn't see the episode either, Don.
Oh no, I haven't seen anything of it. My buddy raves about it all the time. I need to watch all of it.
You haven't watched when it started?
Nope, not one.
You're a dipshit. Jesus Christ! Where have you been? You're a media guy.
I'm at the gym, Greg. You know me.
Oh, you're at the gym with the cat. Yeah. Well, I see you at the gym all the time. You're on Instagram more than anybody I've ever seen. Even Laura says, God, he's on there all the time.
I'm on there all the time.
Yeah.
Magnum, so you think, how would you balance it out with the language when it comes to Raw going to Netflix? Would you do anything in particular? Would you sprinkle some in there? Would you have fun? Or what? How do you balance it out with the kids watching and all that kind of stuff?
You asking me?
Yeah, I'm sorry, Magnum. Yep.
You're TA.
Yeah. No,
you're still TA, aren't you?
I don't know. I don't feel much like TA today, but anyway, I think I would get. I would, of course, everything is scripted. They write everything out. They know what they're going to do. So they're like writing a Hollywood movie. But I would find issues and things that spoke to that level of coarseness, so that it makes sense. So it's not like it's an adjective, like people just throwing F-bombs and just being ridiculous. But it would have to be something that would really affirm the tense situation in the storyline.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way to put it too. You don't want to lean into it and be like, hey, look at the new toy we got. We can swear all the time now if we want to. You kind of want to be selective and make it pack a punch when it comes to it, stuff like that. Yeah, I think that's the way to do it. Darren Staley puts it best. You don't want to get to the effing ridiculous with the effing and the blah, 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 beep, beep, beep. That's my take. So, yes, yeah. I agree.
Good take on it.
Yes. Let's do a couple fan questions from last week, too. I screenshotted a few from last week that I thought were really interesting, and so we'll address them right here, right now. Oh, guys, speaking of Ask Anything, Ask Arn Anything is coming up next on OneTrueSportTV.com and on FourHorsemenNetwork.com, 6 p.m. It'll be Arn Anderson and Brock Anderson taking your questions, so should be a good 1-2 punch there. Be on the lookout for that, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on this channel. So here, let's take a couple here. Let's see. Matthew Rodriguez asks, Magnum and Greg, thoughts on Timeless Toni Storm? Do you think she looks like a young Marilyn Monroe? That girl is insane. What do you guys think of Timeless Toni Storm in AEW?
I tried to read it. I missed it. What was it?
Timeless Toni Storm in AEW. She's got the black and white gimmick, the old movie star look, that kind of thing. Greg, have you caught a lot of her or not too much?
I'd like to catch a lot of her.
Yeah, she's good. Jeez. You did watch that second episode of Yellowstone.
I just turned the clock back. I'm sorry. I kind of went back to the days. No, they do a great job with all the girls and how they make them up and what they look like and their outfits. Nobody does it better. And all the girls, to me, they all look fantastic.
Yeah, Tony.
Well,
I'm
to the point of
75 now,
Tony,
so
yeah.
they really look good.
But to the point of Tony, she recreated herself, and she had the the look that she had in the WWE that she'd been famous for, and had her run with that, and it was so creative the way she was repackaged and just took on this persona. And I think the black and white touch that they did with the film was just another really cool touch to it. But I thought that was really, to me, the best thing they had going on the whole program for quite a while.
I would almost argue you could definitely make an argument for her kind of being the wrestler of the year for AEW in a lot of ways, because she was the one that really kept people engaged and people were intrigued by her storyline with Mariah May and a lot of different aspects that AEW was lacking in. It was character development and stuff like that, and she was one who brought it and really embraced the character and made the most out of something that was kind of quirky at first, but then blew into its own kind of entity and made it a lot of fun for a lot of viewers. She was almost appointment television for them in a lot of ways, but she's been off television for the past couple of months, so it'll be interesting to see when they bring her back and what they decide to do with her. Let's see what else we got here. Oh, here's a good one. Mr. Abdu says, Greg, would you put Nick Bockwinkel in your top 5 best talkers ever? Nick, would he be up there as one of your best talkers?
Well, Nick is a great talker, had a great delivery, but when they put Bobby Heenan with him, that's when he really exploded.
Yeah.
Nick was, very articulate, very professional, stoic, and had a good deliverance, and arrogant enough that the people really, he was hot. But, when you look at the territories he'd been in, he was always a main eventer, but not that big sensation or that excitement that could ignite people.
Right.
You put Bobby Heenan with him, and it was a whole nother story, man.
Yeah.
It was a combination that was fantastic for wrestling. And the two of them, the way it bounced off, with Nick being the more educated delivery that he would make, and then Bobby coming in and really laying it on. It was a great unity of the two of them, bringing them together.
Right.
But Nick in the ring, he was phenomenal. He goes, you got to go back to the, almost the 50s styles, 60s styles. He was very methodical, did it, but everything he did meant something in the ring.
Right. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah. And yeah, I think you could absolutely make an argument for what a wrestler manager combo all time is the Bockwinkel and Heenan together.
When they brought Bockwinkel and Stevens teamed up, and Bobby Heenan brought them together, they had the title for 3 years. And it was everywhere they went was sold out. They were a phenomenal team. And with Bobby in their corner, it was, all you had to do is, you didn't care who they put them with, they're going to sell out.
Yeah. Magnum, you would have been a good opponent, I think, for Bockwinkel from just not just a wrestling standpoint, but obviously from the contrasting personas standpoint. I think would be a great matchup between you two.
Yeah, it would have been cool because he is kind of, he was kind of that, the suit and tie kind of guy, and again very educated in his delivery, his speaking, and it would have played well against kind of my blue collar, following of the hardworking folks and the different generation, because again, he was a throwback and an homage to the years before and the earlier years of the greats, and like Luthez, champion, gentleman, well dressed, and Nick was a continuation of all that.
Yeah.
And, I had a lot of fun with him. I actually worked with Nick when I was only been in the business 6 months, and
really?
It is a really funny thing, because I was working for Joe Blanchard, and I was just out there to put Nick over. And Nick lays out this just, what for me was a, multi-step finish that he came up with, very creative thing that he wanted to do. And he threw me into the turnbuckle, and he went completely blank. He forgot. He forgot his own finish. And I'm 6 months in the business, and I darn sure wasn't the one that was going to get us out of it. So it was.
Nick did that a few times.
Yeah. So that was that was my first and only time I got to share the ring with him. But many years later, or not many, but 3-4 years down the road, we'd had a lot of fun in the ring together for sure.
Oh man, no doubt, man.
Magnum, if could ever get him out of Charlotte into the AWA, he'd have been a heck of an AWA champion for us.
You can't argue that. That's for you. Would have been a heck of a champion anywhere, I think.
Well, thank you, guys. It was the most. It's the only job in the world that, honestly, all of us that performing at the level that we got to perform at would have actually done that. Outside the fact that we needed to eat and take care of our families, the in the ring part of it was so rewarding, and it's almost feel guilty because you're going out there working hard, but you're just getting so much back from the people constantly, and it's really, the sad part of it is that so many guys that were so great in the ring and truly talented, and that was really their calling in life, could never find their way after, because they just couldn't do anything to recreate that magic and that moment and that feel you got by performing in front of people like that. And it's really I can see where psychologically guys like Rick and countless others just couldn't step away and figure the next thing, because life just was not exciting enough in and of itself, without that element of adrenaline and the spotlight.
Yeah, it's tough.
Let me get both your opinions on this. Magnum, obviously you had like such a sad ending when it came to the in-ring career and everything like that. And Greg, injuries kind of came into your play. How did you guys, what kind of advice would you give for talent to kind of move on? Because to get that kind of satisfaction and stuff is really one of a kind of element from the aspect of the ring and everything like that. But wanted to get your guys' thoughts on what kind of advice you would give to somebody today to kind of move on if they need to from the aspect of wrestling. Magnum, let's start with you on that.
You got to be able to switch, take that passion that you threw all into that form of art, and find something else to give you that outlet. And it won't be the same, but there are obviously lots of satisfying things that folks can do, whether it's helping others, working with kids, or working with people in general that need to be lifted up, because we all had this crazy just energy about us that was something you couldn't quite put your finger on. They talk about charisma and being able to light up a crowd, but the energy that allows you to interact with other people regardless of the setting is something you can kind of find your way with, whether that ends up being in public speaking again, or working with groups and kids and young people. It's a way of giving yourself away in a different kind of way, rather than it just being all about the performance and the me thing. Because we again, a lot of us we're given some amazing gifts, and I've watched guys that have gone on to be all kinds of different things and different walks, and certainly public speaking is a very easy thing for fellows to fall into, but really it's you can be the leader in a smaller venue and be just as dynamic as you were in front of 100,000 people.
Yeah.
If you apply the same principles, and it's having the patience and being able to refocus your lenses and your goggles a little bit to see where you might do that. And I'll tell you, just hands down, first and foremost, and Greg will attest to this, you could never enjoy a family being in that environment the way we did it 7 days a week, year in, year out, the way we did. And when I'm watching, the kids grow up and them going through their lives and interjecting things into them, that to me is the complete antithesis of it all being about me. It's all about them. And, I can help guide a little bit, even though the, huge age gap. I mean, I'm 65 years old with 17-year-old twins. Talk about, trying to be hip and cool and knowing what's going on in the real world. If we hadn't lived the intense craziness that we had, wouldn't be equipped for all that. But, that's the satisfying challenge to me, for me today.
Yeah. Yeah. Greg, you want to add anything onto that too?
Well, you kind of hit it on the head. I mean, you never really get it out of your blood, and it's just, how do you carry yourself afterwards and can get that fulfillment that you got in the ring. And I was very fortunate because I was able to take advantage of the sport because of the way we worked, and it was at night. I was able to coach kids, and I coached my youngest son in baseball and football from 3rd grade to 8th grade. And then they even brought me in at 9th grade when he went as a freshman to help the team there. And I was able to communicate with the kids a little bit easier than some of the coaches could. And, it's that desire and that inner self that you have. You can't be successful in wrestling unless you can let that come out to who you really are and sell that to the people.
Right.
And after wrestling, I was able to do it in sales. They had me, they used me as doing commercials for a car dealership. Then they brought me in as selling. And, I always sold more cars than everybody else because, I was recognizable. But then, I guess what kept me going is they still wanted to hear stories about wrestling. and when you start telling the stories and you start getting it and that emotion comes out again, you never lose it. And people are either going to love that emotion or they're not going to like it. And I was very fortunate that they liked it. And I've done a lot of speaking engagements and, and just go up there and be who I am. And that's what Vern used to say. You have to let that inner self come out and be who you really are. And the people are going to like you or they're not. And let that emotion come out. Let them feel who you are.
Right.
And I think if you can do that through your whole life, I mean, that's what helped me in wrestling and got me out of maybe a little shell I was in and came out of it and more confident in myself and my ability to communicate with people. And I've used that to my advantage over the years. Yeah,
man. Yeah, that's good advice too, because it is tough. Yeah, if you can convey yourself in a different form or fashion outside of the ring and from whatever you find yourself able to do, I think that would certainly help you somebody move on. Obviously, it's not going to be the same.
What you are in the ring is who you really are, and if you can carry that off into the general public, you're gonna be okay. You're gonna be successful.
Absolutely.
And I try to tell my kids when I was coaching them in football and baseball, guys, don't be so uptight.
Yeah.
Be confident. Just go up there and, swing away or, throw the football, just do it the way we practice and everything will be fine and let it go. And I'd let the kids come out, try to get their real personalities out of them.
Yeah. Even
when they're in 3rd, 4th grade. And it was fun to watch. They're all different. Yeah. and then you have to work with each one of them, And
that's it too.
Now that's a little too much, Let's
that's
back
not
it
an element right there.
But coach. Yeah, whoa. I'll send TA in. He'll give you some advice.
He'll give you straight talk, that's for sure.
He'll give you the straight talk. Call in the boss.
Darren Staley chimed in with an interesting super chat. He said, doing the super chat just to tell you, I won $135 betting Polish ping pong on BetMGM this weekend. True story, slightly off topic. What is Polish ping pong in comparison to regular ping pong? That's what I'm curious about. Let's see here. Take a couple more questions here. Boom. TA and Gagne, in my opinion, Mr. Rowdy Piper is the greatest heel of the last 40 years, with Mr. McMahon being a close second. Do you agree? Or is there any other heels that you would put up in that echelon, guys, that you would think about? Like, hey, he is a top heel, that person. I mean, Roddy's a good one, obviously. And Vince McMahon, when he was the boss against, Stone Cold and stuff, that was a one of a kind of thing too. But you want to throw anybody else in that contendership? Greg, you want to start?
Oh, you can throw a lot of people in there.
Yeah.
I mean, there were so many good heels. It's hard to say who was the best of all time.
Sure. Yeah.
I mean, there's probably 10, 20, maybe 30 guys you could put into that.
Absolutely.
Heels and baby faces, both. And, Rodney is right up there with all of them. He was a great talker. He was good in the ring, but there was other guys that were just as good in the ring and got just as much heat and could talk, in their own personality and get the heat. That is really a tough one. The Rock is good.
The Rock's a great heel.
I mean, either heel or babyface. Either way. I mean, you look at Dusty Rhodes. Dusty was both.
He could do both, yeah.
And the way he interviewed, you could go either way with it.
Yeah.
You go to the guys like the Crusher and Mad Dog Vachon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that Mad Dog, that when he did an interview, I tell you what, you believed every word he said, and you were scared shitless.
He probably did too.
And when you got in the ring with him, it was even worse.
That's it.
Yeah. How about you, TA? What do you think?
Well, it's the heel deal is always, is the interesting side of things, because without the heels, there are no baby faces.
Right.
I mean, it is so. I mean, to me, they got a very interesting lane, and you look at tag teams that were great over the years. You're talking about Bobby Heenan, being such a great heel manager. I watched J.J. Dillon, be in the right place at the right time so many times with the Horsemen that it was just, unbelievable. And again, there was the heel thing was funny though, because they like, let's say Tully, for instance. Tully never had a desire to be cute or entertaining or anything that would make you find something endearing about him. He just wanted to be that prick asshole that you wanted to see get his ass kicked, and recognize that he was tough and he was an athlete, but there was nothing about him that made you want to go out and say, hey, I want to go have lunch with that guy, or spend time with him. And to the polar opposite, some of the heels would be so entertaining because they had such a big personality that people would find things entertaining about it, and it wouldn't just be as just blood curdling. I just want to see that guy get his. Jim Cornette would make you want to kill him. Everybody, everybody, from the guy that took the tickets to the little old lady on the front seat to the boys in the back. Everybody would want to kill him just because he's such a wise guy and so quick-witted, but then you had, hardcore heel managers like Gene Anderson, and Gene was as rough and tough of a wrestler as you could ever want to see. But later in his career, when he was managing, Ray Stevens and Jimmy Snuka, I mean, he was just, they were brutal.
Yeah.
And he'd sacrifice himself to get them the cheat win or whatever, and he just knew he was a nasty character. So, my hat's off to the real heels that really stayed in the lane and weren't, kind of dipsy doodling back and forth, and I'm not quite sure where they fit in. And to Greg's point, there's so many of them over the years. I couldn't even begin to sit down and put a paper to it. Kevin Sullivan had people terrified of him. They thought he was a devil. I mean, he was when he hit Dago Dusty with that daggone spike in the chest down in Florida, and did it to Blackjack Mulligan. They thought he was like like something right out of a horror movie.
TA, he was a devil.
Yeah, he was a really good worker. Is what he was.
Yes, he was. Yeah,
I got to make a lot of money with some really, really, really talented individuals, and it was every night was a night off with them. It was so much fun.
I think those are some great names, though. Like you mentioned Tully too, and he did nothing for you to like him. Like he did nothing. It's just like he just completely embraced the chicken shit attitude, but he was talented in the ring. Just everything to that effect is just really kept that identity of like, I hate this guy and I'm rooting for the other guy kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. No, there was so many really, really, really good ones. You just look back. I mean, like King Kong Brody.
Yeah.
I mean, my God, people hated him. And he ended up earning their respect. They changed him to a baby face. And that happened with a lot of those really great heels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So just to pick out one person in professional wrestling that stood out over everybody else, I don't think you can do it. It wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, that's it. Darren adds a little clarification to that Polish ping pong. It's no such thing. He just meant the Polish national table tennis team, and he cleared the house doing that. So good to hear. Man, I want to bet some ping pong now.
You've been playing it. You got TA and I on each side of you.
That's it. I'm bouncing back and forth. Volley for
yeah.
Holy smokes. Al adds a good one here. Al Tuttle. He says Hulk Hogan makes a case for greatest babyface and greatest heel together as a combo as Hollywood Hogan. And he did a good job as a heel. Hulk Hogan did, I think, with that attitude and stuff like that. It was a chicken shit then too.
I thought it was his best body of work.
Yeah.
Because as a heel, his work was more solid. The psychology was, he was vicious. I mean, he was a very credible heel. Mm-hmm. Whereas as a baby face, it was just the walking and talking and the posing and the rapping on the mic, and it was a shtick. But he really turned that character on when he did that heel turn. I was a fan. I watched that whole WCW era,
mm-hmm.
Wars, because I started my construction company back then, and I'd get home at night and watch those two go head to head.
Yeah,
it was fantastic.
No, he was. Yeah,
that was the height of my fandom too. Was those NWO days, because like Hall and Nash, they had the cool factor going on, the cool heel factor almost, and the anti-hero stuff. But Hogan, he was the heel out of it all, because he just was like, he would always never wrestle. You'd never see him wrestle. You'd always have to pay to see him wrestle. And everybody else would be doing the legwork for him. So he did it. Yeah, I'm with you, Magnum. I was a big Hulk Hogan heel fan for sure.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take a couple more questions because Magnum's got to get out of here. So we'll do, let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Let's see. Oh, here we go. GT, TA, did you ever have any interactions with Gino Hernandez while you were in San Antonio?
I did. As a matter of fact, he and Tully were tag partners back then. So I didn't really get to work with him because I wasn't at that place on the card, but I was around him, and he had the whole package. He would have been a great horseman in that era and that deal. He'd have fit in so good with Rick and Tully and Arn and that group of people. One of the more talented, charismatic, natural, heelish guys I've ever been around. And as young as I was in the business, I was able to recognize that he was going to be a superstar. So it was a real tragedy that he never got to realize his potential.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Just seeing the little spurts of him when I was watching World Class on the WWE Network. It's like, man, that guy is something else right there. He definitely had so much charisma, a great look. Obviously, there was a lot of potential there for him going.
I mean, there's pictures of him dating out with Farrah Fawcett.
Crazy.
Back in the day, So, he was a moving, shaking, playboy in the making, kind of guy, and could work. And Paul Bosch, who ran Houston, absolutely loved him. He just, that was his favorite human on the planet, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We got a couple more chats in here. People are giving me a little crap. ATF Media, hey, you've been asking about Ronnie Garvin. I know you've been trolling a little bit, but I'll ask your question to Greg. Here, let's see. Okay. Did Greg ever meet Twins shortstop Greg Gagne? What are the odds of having two Greg Gagnes on TV in Minnesota and then pronouncing them differently? What did you?
I never got a chance to meet him.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow, that's great.
I met most of the other guys, Ken Herbeck and Bernatsky, and the whole crew. Gary Gagne, we used to run pretty hard, but never got a chance to meet him. He was a little different personality.
Yeah, interesting.
Just from what I heard from the other baseball players that I kind of hung with. We did a lot of events together, and he was pretty. He wouldn't do any of the events.
Yeah,
the golf tournaments and the fundraising stuff. So he was a different cat.
Huh.
Unfortunately, I would have liked to have met him one time, but he came from the East Coast, and out there they pronounce the name Gagne, but it's actually Gagne. There's a little accent with it. It's a French name.
Yeah.
So, but it was good that he did go by that, because we still did get mixed up all the time. Somebody had asked me, "What's your batting average?" I said, well, back in Little League, it was about 380. I haven't played in a while, but you're with the Twins. I said, that's the other one.
That's the other one. Jeez. I know, Greg, every time I try to Google images for you, it's some pictures of you and then other pictures of the Twins
baseball player.
How about that?
Yeah, he's riding on my coattails.
That's it. All right, we'll wrap it up with all that. CB, I'm going to screenshot your one question you asked for next week, so I'll be sure to get that. Hold on a second, CB. Boom, we're good to go on that. All right, so guys, if you're interested, be sure to like, subscribe on 4horsemanetwork.com. Be sure to like the video. If you're on TrueSportTV.com, be sure to do the same thing. But I'm going to drop the doubleheader episode of last week's episode and this week's episode together tomorrow morning. So be on the lookout for that if you want to listen to both weeks' episodes together. It's going to be a doubleheader special going on. And stay tuned. If you're on here right now for Arn Anderson and Brock Anderson, they're going to go live at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Where can I get that double shot tomorrow? Where do I go to get that?
So you type in 4 Horsemen Network on your podcast feed of choice. So 4 Horsemen Network. And you can get it on there. You can subscribe, and you can get Arn on there. You can get Magnum and Greg on there. And, hey, if you want to get some merchandise, too, let's get a little merchandise going. Let's get some Magnum TA, the hoodie, and the mug. You can go scan that QR code. That'll take you to all of Magnum TA's merchandise on OneTrueSport.com. And you can get – the bat is not included, ladies and gentlemen. I know people have been asking. The baseball bat is not included. But you can get this Greg Gagne hoodie, too, as well, the High Flyer, the Pegasus on the back, and High Flyer across on the front. You can get the Greg Gagne mug, too. Scan that QR code, and you get the whole Greg Gagne collection. Plenty of merchandise there on there, too. And Greg's got it right there, too. The thing, high-quality mug right there. There we go. Pounding it. So, guys, thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next week here, 2 p.m., 4 p.m. Oh, Tuesday at 4 p.m.
Crown Apple. Is that what it's called?
It's the apple. Holy smokes. I'm feeling it. But we'll see you guys next week here on Straight Talk with the Boss. Magnum TA, Greg Gagne.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.